Today's episode of Voiced is from r/entitled parents and is about a mom who tries to cut in line but ends up with way more than she bargained for, and a social worker whose towel turban gets stolen by an entitled kid, leaving the mother in shock when she finds out the truth. What happens next? Subscribe if you enjoy. Entitled Mom Wants to Skip the Line gets a lot more than she wanted. Edit. Conversion for temperature, 35 degrees Celsius is 95 degrees Fahrenheit. A need-to-know detail. It was extremely hot. It was about 35 degrees Celsius, but it felt like 44. Important detail for later. So I was standing in line at the checkout at my local supermarket. I think in total, I had about 10 items, some frozen goods, drinks, and snacks. I usually tend to take out one of the earbuds from my phone, so in case someone addresses me, I would hear it. At this time, the woman at the cash register was taking care of the payment of one client, and there was one person in front of me. And then suddenly she appeared, the entitled mom, EM, in this story. Now honestly, she didn't look it. She didn't even give off a mean vibe or anything. Even the way she started talking to me was overall nice and polite at first. "Excuse me, do you mind if I skip ahead? I'm in a hurry." Now in general, if somebody politely asks me this, and I don't have any urgent business of my own, I usually don't mind. This time, however, I didn't have that many groceries, so her delay would be at most a few minutes, while she was pushing a fully loaded shopping cart in front of her. So if I would have let her skip, I'd probably still be in the store for another 10 to 20 minutes. So I politely declined and told her I will hurry as much as I can. Of course, this was a great offense. I had not given this woman her entitlement. She blew up instantly, yelling and screaming at me that she was in a hurry and, not kidding here, had to be home in time for her shows. Now at this time, I would like to point out that during this rant, she only said she had to be home in time for shows and that they were very important to her. There was nothing else making this urgent for her. This is important a bit later. Now while this woman was going off, the person at the cash register went into ignore mode and just started scanning my groceries, which I loaded into a bag while the entitled mother was going on about how I was garbage and they should ban me from the store. Now this should have been the end of it, just turn around and go home and forget this happened. But then she said something that 1, made me almost want to harm her, 2, made this a postable story. While I was walking away, just about to put the earbud back in, she yelled, "If you pass by my car, tell my son he's the reason he has to wait another half an hour for me." Now I'm not an extremely smart person, but in this moment my brain made some connections quickly. What I realized was this: 1, again, it was very hot outside. 2, this woman had been in the store for a while, judging by the amount of groceries. 3, entire parking lot of this store had almost no shade. 4, it was about 2 p.m., so the sun was just over its peak. I rush outside and start running past cars, scanning them for kids inside. Thankfully, one of the first cars I pass has a small child laying in the back seat. This kid is as pale as a ghost, sweating like crazy, and it looked like he was only half conscious. I run back inside, and to my utter astonishment, this woman is having a conversation with the cashier while she's checking out her groceries. I grab her by the shoulders, spin her around, and yell almost straight into her face that her kid is literally dying in her car. And if you don't do something right now, I'm smashing in your windows and calling the cops. At first, she looked at me in complete confusion, probably never been spoken to like that before in her life. Then the realization of what I told her sank in, and she rushed outside. While she went outside, a man tapped me on the shoulder and asked what had happened. I explained the situation, actually leaving out the bit at the cash register, just saying I saw the kid in the car and knew that this woman was probably the owner. He went outside, and when I came outside, the entitled mother suddenly rushed me and got in my face saying I was the reason she was in the store for so long and her son's current condition was my fault. Before I could even respond, the man that approached me earlier spoke up. Turns out this man was an off-duty cop and had been in the store for a while, and as such knew that the actual delay caused by me could not have caused this. He also said he had already called an ambulance for the kid and the cops for her. I don't know what happened to the entitled mother, EM, but she completely crashed. She just sat down on the pavement and started shaking her head, not saying much except the occasional sob or "it's not my fault." As for the ending, everything turned out okay for most parties. I stayed a while to give a statement to the police officers and my contact information in case it went to court. The child was okay afterwards, and since his mother got arrested, they called his dad or another male family member, I didn't ask, to accompany him to the hospital. As for the entitled mother, I'm assuming she is going to have to stand trial for child endangerment. Not sure if she'll just get a fine or jail time. Update: I was contacted by the police a few days ago, last Friday. I went to the station where they went over my statement, asked if I wanted to add or amend anything I said. I didn't. They couldn't really tell me directly what was going to happen with the mother or the family in general, but said that the standard punishment when the child is not seriously hurt or dead is usually a municipal administrative sanction fine. I think it's kind of sad something bad has to happen before serious punishment is handed out. I do not know what the amount of the fine will be, but as far as I am concerned, it couldn't be high enough. I have not seen any of those people in the store or in the area in general, but I also don't know if they live near here or were just passing by the store by coincidence. Or maybe they are just avoiding the store. That's also possible. That will probably be the end of this tale. I know many of you hoped for something worse for the mother, but sadly, life is not fair. But at least the child lived, and let's hope the mother learned a lesson. Wow, talk about a dramatic turn of events. From a heated argument in the supermarket to a child's safety being at risk, it's clear that some people will stop at nothing to get their way. But let's shift gears now and dive into another unexpected encounter. Imagine this. You're having one of those days where everything seems to be going wrong, and all you want is a quick shower to wash away the stress. Little did I know, my attempt to freshen up would lead to an even more chaotic situation. Let's see what happens when a simple gym visit turns into a battle over a stolen towel turban. EK takes my wet towel turban and EM freaks out when she realizes I'm a social worker. Right, so this happened about 5 years ago when I was working as a newly qualified social worker. It has been a rough morning, and long story short, I had spit and vomit on me. As pretty standard practice, I kept a spare set of court clothes in my car so I had something to change into, but I felt pretty disgusting and wanted a shower. So I took an early lunch and went to my gym nearby the office to shower and change. I showered, came out and put my hair up into a towel turban and walked back to the lockers. The changing area was empty, except for one kid, a boy about 8 or 9 years old. It was a bit weird for him to be alone, but I assumed his mum must have been in the only occupied stall, so I didn't think too much of it. I smiled to acknowledge him and got to my locker to grab my things to change into. At this point, the boy 8-year-old kid looked at me, pointed at my towel turban and said, "What's that?" "Oh, it's a towel turban. Pretty neat, huh? It stays up better than a regular towel. Cool." And started to reach for my head. "Excuse me, what are you doing?" "I just want to see it." No, I'm using it. Sorry. At this point in my life, I'm pretty used to kids being a bit inappropriate, and it's my job to make sure they understand. But I wasn't expecting that. He looked a bit angry, but went back to his mom's phone. I get dressed quickly and grab my things to go over to the mirror and take the turban off to hairdryer my hair. I'm flipping my hair around to dry it and notice that this kid comes up to the mirror, then leaves again. I think nothing of it and finish drying my hair, turn the hairdryer off, reach for my turban, and it isn't there. I know what he's done, and I whip around and look at him, and he's turning a shade of red but staring fixedly on his phone so as to ignore me. I'm trying to remain calm, but Christ, I've been spat at, vomited on, and now someone has stolen my towel turban. I walk back over and do my best I've had enough of this nonsense voice and say, "Please return the turban. Now." He keeps ignoring me, so I repeat, "Please return the turban. Now." He's gone a huge shade of red, refuses to look at me and mumbles something like, "I didn't take it." I've had enough at this point, so I went over to the only occupied stall and knocked on the door. "Excuse me, is this your son out here?" EM opens the door and looks at me thoroughly annoyed. "What?" "Me. Is this your son? He has taken my towel turban. I have asked for it back, but he is not returning it. Please ask him to hand it back, and I'll not inform the gym staff." "What the hell is a towel turban?" I start to explain, but EK says, "It's a hair towel that stays up better than a regular towel." We both look at him, and she says, "Okay, so what do you want?" "Me. I want my towel turban back, please." "Well, he wouldn't just take something. You obviously just lost it. You shouldn't go around accusing people because you lose things." "Well, he will have no problem then emptying his bag. If he has it, he can just hand it back, and if I'm mistaken, I will apologize." EM looks at EK, and it's obvious to anyone that he is lying, but she just says, "Don't be stupid. I'm not letting you go through his things as if he's some kind of thief. Look at you. You're harassing a little boy in a changing room." I take a deep breath to prevent my eyes from rolling back in my head and say, "Me, I'm not asking to touch anything. I'm asking for you to go through his bag for my turban. That is all. If you are not willing, I will go to the staff and ask them to sort this out. I know it's just a towel turban, but theft is theft, and it's pink and cute, so I'm not letting anyone have it." "So you're threatening me now?" I know a circular argument when I hear one, so I go to the door, lean out and call for someone to come and sort it out. Enter gym trainer dude. What's going on? He looks between the three of us, and the kid has gone back to staring at his phone, and EM positions herself between GTD and EK. This crazy woman is harassing my son and trying to go through his bag. She needs to be thrown out. Me. That isn't what happened. Her son has taken my towel turban, and I would like it returned. I just keep looking at this kid, and the gym trainer says, "Okay, so what happened, buddy? Did you take the towel?" EK mumbles something about how I must have lost it, and EM jumps in and says, "See, he didn't take it. He's so traumatized he can barely say anything." She then bends down to him and hugs him, saying it'll be all right and that she won't let you get away with this, very dramatically. I look at the gym trainer and explain the whole event, and he says, "Okay, so why don't we just check his bag?" EK starts dramatically wailing and EM starts ranting about how this is harassment. The gym trainer dude looks uncomfortable and says, "That's literally the only way I think I can solve this." EM then stands up and tries to push past me, but I'm not moving, and the room is small, so she fails. She starts swearing and thrusts the kid's backpack at GTD, saying, "Fine, check it. He hasn't taken it, and when you don't find it, I want her thrown out. You are to apologize and get the manager." EK wails. The gym trainer dude obviously finds the pink wet turban towel in the bag. He picks it up and kind of just looks at it. EK wails even more and tries to grab it, but GTD holds it out of his reach. "Right, so this is yours?" "Yes, thank you." I stuff the coveted towel turban into my bag and get out my car keys and ID lanyard. As I put the lanyard over my head, something audibly clicked in EM's head. That's a social worker ID. She yanks EK's arm, snatches the bag from GTD, and I move to let her pass. GTD looks super confused, and I explain that she must have just been embarrassed that her son stole my towel turban. But I knew she was panicking because she realized what my job was and that her son was out of school stealing pink wet towel turbans. Before I talk about today's posts, please consider subscribing to stay updated on more entertaining stories like these. Wow, what a roller coaster of emotions. First off, the entitled mom at the supermarket really took things too far. I mean, leaving your kid in a hot car while you shop is beyond irresponsible, and her reaction when confronted was just insane. It's a relief to hear that the child was okay, but it's scary to think about what could have happened. And can we talk about the entitled mom at the gym? Stealing a towel turban? Really? And then trying to turn the tables on you? Classic entitlement right there. It's amazing how some people react when they realize you're in a position of authority, like that social worker ID was a game changer. I can't believe these stories are real. What do you think about these entitled moms and their crazy behavior? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more reactions just like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Voiced. If you enjoyed daily high-quality stories, please like and subscribe to show your support.